Good evening and welcome to the We Are Rise show. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. How you doing on this Friday evening? Yes, it's glorious. It's nice out. It's beautiful. Uh Tonight's show, genuine dissent versus reverse psyop. Yeah, we're gonna get into Joe Kent. I didn't get to cover it yesterday. I was too busy. I didn't have a show. Trust the polls, cute. Yeah. After the hat, which is basically beyond MAGA, falling skies, a lot of other interesting conversations that we're going to move the needle with. So I want to say hello to everybody out there and a little thought. I put it in the chat. Prayers to our friend Thomas the True Reporting. He lost his dad today. Big shout out to him. Send him his condolences. And, he texted me today. I talked to him yesterday. So, send your condolences out there. Let's welcome in my co-host Marshall Smith. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You sound great.
It sounds better than earlier.
It sounds absolutely like it normally should sound. So whatever you
I
did,
did some. It was in the streamline.
you're just special and smart, man.
Yes, well, it was in the StreamYard.
It was
Anyway, the
okay.
video service that Brett used. Anyway, y'all know how fun this stuff is. I have a new. Brett was nice enough to send me a new. That's why I'm right up in the thing. My face is like right here. But look, other than that, I want to say, Thomas, God bless you. I hope you're gonna, be all right. Just hang in there, buddy. I know what it
Yeah.
feels like. It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough when you lose a parent and stuff. I'm dealing with some stuff with my mom right now, so I know. Dude, it sucks. It sucks completely. There's nothing you can do. And then he lost his grandmother just a couple of weeks ago. So I mean, you know, he doesn't show it, but I know it hurts him. I know that's the way it is. Well, I'm glad you got your camera working. I sent you, and I sent
I
him a camera,
appreciate it.
got him a camera, and that's good. And the sound sounds great. So whatever you did, it's
It
working.
was all last minute, guys. We worked on this right into the very last.
Well, it happens. Some of these things are
Very
tricky, so make
stressful.
sure. Yeah, make sure it's working. I'm glad you like it and stuff. And some of the stuff behind the scenes, you can do the software and all the
You
things that
see
you can
my
do.
little signs back there now? You can even read the Tea Party Patriots
Yeah,
right there.
actually, you sound a lot clearer than you did from the previous show. So, congratulations. I'm glad the camera's working out for you. Okay,
Okay,
so
good.
let's welcome in everybody on pill.net. Hello on YouTube if you're there. What's up, James? Sending my condolences and prayers to Thomas and his family. We love you, Thomas. Yes, we all love Thomas from True Reporting. Guy takes a beating left and right. I know that. Him and I have gone through it. We're in the trenches. So, yes. Hello over here, Nod Dog. Brittle, that's a new name. What's up, True Terran? What's up, my friend? Greetings, and let's fucking go. Yeah, it's TGF Friday. We got a lot of stuff that's going to happen. Let me say hello over here on pill.net. We're going to be punching up at a wedding, so to speak. We're punch boxing. I mean, I'm just saying right now, tonight's going to be a little fight here and there. There's going to be a lot of toggle. There's going to be, a punch up in some way. You know what? My attitude about a lot of things, the way I see, and again, I don't like to be put in a box or a category. So someone doesn't get to dictate who I am, what I think, and you know what? They can get bent, fuck right off, or I can make them bent and fuck right off. And because that's what I do. Would USA dropping 217 gold pills? Good to see you, my friend. What's up? Trump won. Yes, so sad. Who else is here? Blue Viking, how you doing? Curious one. What's going on? Trump won. Thank you for the cookie. Thea, what's up? I thought you're out of town. Thank you for the 900 gold pills and also supporting the show on the back end when you were watching it on replay. I really appreciate that support and love and some of your commentary. That was very kind. What's up, Trusty Turnup? Good evening, everyone. Good to see you. Sean Joe, what's up? Thank you for the cookie. Another cookie. Good to see you. Yes. Who else is here? All right, that's good. That's great. That's fantastic. Everybody out there, yes, if you're on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. That's good. You can help us out over there, buymeacoffee.com/wearise, or you can help out Marshall, ko-fi.com/surfdog74. You know what to do over here on Pilled, and I already dropped some of the Buy Me a Coffees and the Cash App. Look, let's put it this way. There's going to be some commentary tonight that some people are not going to like and some people will like. The question is, where do you fit into this subject matter? That is the most important thing. Where do you fit into this subject matter? Where do you want to fit into this subject matter? And tonight is a call-in show. Now, I dropped the actual StreamYard again. I will drop it again one more time for all the platforms. All right, so everybody can have it. And if you want to call in, I will get to you right away because apparently I didn't get to, so I weren't patient enough. And then I got some pushback for some people, and I'm like, no. You don't get to talk to me like that. So just be patient, and we will move on. As soon as you appear, okay, I will try to get to you as soon as possible. But trains of thoughts have to go through because tonight is a very important show. Curious Cat. So, yes, I put it on YouTube as well. So all the YouTube peeps, you can now participate if you want to call in. You can click, okay? You can send it back to yourself. Marshall will explain it. It's very simple. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, just copy the link or write it down, go to your messages and send yourself the message.
There you go.
When you send yourself the message, you'll have a hot link, which means it's blue, usually. Just click on the link. Send the link to yourself in your messages.
Marshall, you sound great, man.
Oh man,
this new camera and the quality and the last minute that you did, I mean, it's all great. Man, I sent him a new camera, so it's like it's fantastic that it's working. I didn't think we were gonna get this working like we were supposed to do. So I'm glad in some way it's that it's happening because
Amazon didn't show up for like 30. So me and Brett were like juggling, anyway. Go ahead.
All right, let's play this. Let's move on. I see you, Curious Cat. Thank you for the cookie. What's up? Hello and hello back. Hogleg 71. What's up, brother? How you doing? How is North Carolina? Thank you for the cookie. Yes. Thoughts and prayers for Thomas. His dad died today. That's my friend. That's your friend. That's our friend. And let him know. He put it out there on Truth Social. So here we are. They're all just paid puppets. I think Thomas and I both talked about it on too. We both love Tucker Carlson in the sense of we just like what he does as a show, as a performer, as an artist in some way. But you have to take a lot of this stuff and how you see it and how you view these things with a grain of salt. I'll show you.
Our newest puppets are complete. Now we infiltrate MAGA from within. Good boys, my little puppets. Cheap, too.
I mean, you can be it's outrageous.
Where you can be a freak on purpose. Do what they say, make sure it's worth it. Just don't look away when you betray that person. Say what they want long as the money keeps flowing. Smile for the crowd while the cameras keep rolling. Strings on your hands, but you swear you're working. Welcome to the daytime circus. Freak on purpose.
Welcome to the show.
Let's discuss the economy. The media is spinning it. We must fight back!
Welcome to the daytime circus, where you can be a freak on purpose. Do what they say, make sure it's worth it. Just look away when you betray that person. Say what they want long as the money keeps flowing. Smile for the crowd while the cameras keep rolling. Strings on your hands, but you swear you're working. Welcome to the daytime circus. Freak on purpose.
I think that's fantastic. I really do. And I think really it encapsulates a lot of people's sentiment and how they feel about what is going on because of Joe Kent, because of Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, the whole, let's just say, the whole industry in general is breaking. It's shattering. It's crumbling. You could see through it. You can manage that, the perception management quite well. You can detail it. You can see how these things are, let's just put it this way, are operational. And I'm going to go through a couple of junkets. Let's get Marshall's take on what he just saw. But go ahead, man. I got a lot of things to say.
That was really creepy. It reminded me of...
It was, wasn't it? Thank you.
Yeah, well, remember that show back when we were kids, the Thunderbirds, I believe it was?
Yeah, Thunderbirds.
Man, that show always creeped me the hell out. I mean, those puppets were really weird. I mean...
Yeah, how about Fraggle Rock? How about all that other shit? Gremlins, to me, always freaked me out. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff and things about, the idea about... I mean, think about Pinocchio in this. This all symbolizes Pinocchio, if you didn't realize that. This is all the symbology of Pinocchio.
There was a lot of symbolism in that movie.
Yeah.
You know, there was the pedophilia, the Kids
Yeah.
Island. What
Yeah.
boys? Pleasure Island, where they took the boys and they never
Mhm.
came back as boys again or something.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
go ahead.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of
Strange.
people are missing all this agitprop, and they're not, it's going over their head. They're not really seeing it. Let me get over to a couple of things. So I want to get into a conversation about doublethink or misdirection. People can't tell what's real because of the slang, the colloquial for the audiences, for groups, for individuals. That's what we're going to discuss. Ostensibly, the target of manipulation tactics pretends to be swayed while actually deceiving the original manipulator, or when a person pretends to be on the other side to gain the trust before exposing the tactic. You could see that. So either Joe Kent is that, all right, and flipping the script and doing this reversal here on Tucker, or it's the opposite way. However you want to see this counter manipulation, this double agent approach, an individual or a group that portends or pretends to fall for a piece of propaganda, misinformation, only to feed fake info back to the manipulator. So who's the manipulator? Tucker, Megan, Candace, or is it Joe Kent? To feed false info back to the manipulator or trap them in their own disinfo. See, the key is recognizing the Psyop, refusing to engage with its reverse planned influence in some way. That's the manipulation. That's what I see. That's what I understand. So how we contextually go through this in some way, we have to play both sides and look at this stuff. Is Joe Kent reliable? Is he honorable? Is he knowledgeable? Or is Tucker just such a fruitcake that a lot of people think, and he's part of the agitprop propagation that I just showed you and a paid shill? I want to ask you, what is your thought about this? So this obviously was set up a while ago. It just didn't happen on its own. You got Megyn Kelly, I'm going to show you tonight. I mean, you had Tucker last night, and you have Candace Owens coming. And then she was just at the Catholics for Catholics. And then Carrie Bergeron wins an Oscar or something like that for the Catholic show. I mean, what I'm saying right now is that I'm not sure we're really getting ahead of this, or we're just seeing how all this stuff is being exposed simultaneously. So Joe Kent's story, this is from the American Thinker. This was pretty good. Joe Kent's story gets worse when Candace's name come up. You know what? It's possible. Look, a lot of the things that Candace has said has not been proven true. And I know that Lionel from Lionel Nation, he just loves her for some reason. All he does is talk about her left and right. And he thinks that her, just who she is and what she represents is just amazing thing. Is it? If she's putting out such propaganda, or is it not what she's saying? Or it's who she's directing this information at, that everybody's trying to point arrows and slings at it, and she's trying to get this point across. But I'm not sure where we're going with this. That's the problem. What I was suggesting of this counter manipulation, that everything he said was manifestly untrue, was irrelevant. It was all about the narrative and Tucker Carlson, who made Kent's career promoting Kent on Tucker hugely popular on Fox News. Frantically reiterated that yesterday. Very quickly, though, he learned about the problems with Kent's narrative and then with Kent himself. First, there was a strong countervailing voice of Kent's claim that Iran posed no threat to us. That voice, of course, was Joe Kent. You can see here. All right. And as he goes through here, we should not sit and wait for the next attack, wipe Iran's ballistic. So obviously he's been hypocritical and opportunistic about his thoughts about. And so the question is, what changed when he became director of this national task force for terrorism and stuff? So what changed? I mean, look what he says here. October 7th happened because Biden and Harris ran across this, blah, blah, blah. Trump used diplomacy to build America. So you could see that the counter narratives, the counter manipulation. So on one hand, he bought all this stuff, okay? And then somehow he flipped. Iran has been after Trump since 2020. He ordered the targeting and killing of the terrorist Qasem Soleimani. This wasn't a new threat. See, you could start to see there's something off here. Kent's current stance isn't helped by the fact that Iran's leaders also lied to claims. There is zero evidence that Iran was trying to build a nuclear weapon. Netanyahu warmongering. Deputy Speaker of Iranian Parliament. We tried to develop nuclear weapons, but couldn't keep it secret. There's also a little problem with the death of Kent's wife. which he claims in his resignation letter, lies at Israel's feet. He implies that his wife died in Iraq in a war. Incidentally, that then Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, while publicly supporting Bush, was very dubious about. In fact, Kent's wife died in Syria in 2019 at the hands of ISIS in the midst of a civil war that started when Obama put his weight behind the Muslim Brotherhood and Arab Spring. That is big. And also, it reveals that he worked for the CIA. So you have to consider some of his language and talking points are off. Is he an infiltrator? It's possible. Was he always an infiltrator? Likely so. And then what are we seeing right now? So if he was the one sending information to Tucker and Tucker sending it back, is Joe Kent the guy that is dubious and Tucker Carlson the one who is more, let's just put it this way, honorable, hosting him on there? That's what I talk about, counter manipulation and the double agent approach. In other words, Joe Kent's statements are at odds with his and his world history. There was also Joe Kent's personal history, which very few conservatives paid attention to. After all, he seemed so well right. Tucker Carlson, whom we trusted back then, vouched for his clean-cut, patriotic former veteran, and whose wife died serving America wasn't to love. Well, it turns out there was a lot that wasn't love. Here they are, Kent's red flags. He worked for the CIA, once maybe, that assured patriotism. Those days are gone. The CIA also had a troubling habit of taking foreign policy in its own hand, irrespective of either Constitution or the law. He was a Democrat from 19 to 21. I don't care about that. He voted for Bernie Sanders in 2020 primaries. I do care about that. Now, as someone who made his own political journey from left to right, and he just ran in the primaries not too long ago as a Republican. So this guy is flipping left and right. I should be forgiving of a person who's done the same. In Kent's case, though, I'm not. Why not? Because I cannot find any evidence that he explained his radical switch in a party affiliation. I could bore you for hours, possibly days, explaining in a minute, detail after detail, every step along the political roadmap to Damascus. Even people less verbal than I can explain. Kent hasn't. There's something fishy there. I think so. Everything about Joe Kent has been a lie. All right. The counterbalance argument is that he was always CIA and that there was narratives being perpetrated. He infiltrated this administration in some way, tried to throw Tulsi Gabbard on the bus. She didn't fire him in some way because there was an actual, let's just say, operation underway to make sure that he wasn't leaking, and they knew quite well his reputation and who he was, and that's why he was put in there for this moment. Just a moment ago, sources saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterrorism Center, he just resigned. Yeah, we understand it. Yes, Candace, the woman who contends that the moon landing was fake, that Bridget McCone is her own brother, and that Israel assassinated Charlie Kirk. Well, I believe 2 out of the 3. I don't think Israel assassinated Charlie Kirk, and that Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA weren't happy to get rich off of Charlie's death. Yeah, well, I believe 3 out of 4. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Look at the board. And that Israel and Mossad control everything in the world. I don't believe they control everything in the world. I think this goes back to deep down with the Rothschilds, the central banks,
British Kingdom.
let's just say the monster from Jekyll Island, that type of world and stuff in some way. It's not as clearly defined as you think it is. Is there infiltration all over the place? Absolutely. I'll get to your points in a second, buddy. That Jews aren't really Jewish at all, and that the Holocaust never happened, and on in the canis. Okay. The fact that the director of U.S. Counterterrorism Center was in any way taking cues from openly anti-Semitic, pro-Islamic podcasts with a history of insane fabulism has, for me, entirely shattered the illusion that the U.S. government is sober and serious in its overall, that's what it leaves at. Something disgusting and dangerous is happening among fringe Republicans, and it's happening at the warp speed with maximum power. Sane Americans must marginalize these people with equal speed and power, starting with Joe Kent, who may find himself occupying a nice prison cell if he really did leak classified info. Marshall, your thoughts? This was an excellent piece about explaining that. And again, I will go back suggesting, Marshall, that the counter manipulation, the double agent approach that I'm suggesting, an individual or a group that pretends to what? Fall for a piece of propaganda in misinfo, only to feed false info back to the manipulator. So in this case, who is the manipulator? Is it Joe Kent or is it Tucker Carlson? And to trap them in their own disinfo. So in my eyes, it would seem that the counter manipulator, the double agent, is Tucker Carlson. He is trapping Joe Kent in his own words, in his own viability, and then he's going on podcast after podcast to continue on with this rhetoric to lock himself in because he can't deviate from this narrative. What say you in some way? So it's not about controlled opposition. It's not about stage narrative flipping, okay? This is not about discussing anti-war, anti-escalation, and bona fides. This is really about genuine dissent versus a dubious, I think in some way, reverse psyop. What say you, my friend?
Yeah, I would say one thing is I trust Candace Owens more than I trust Kent.
Wow.
And that's
saying a lot.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I love her or anything. I'm no big fan or whatever. I'm
Right.
not one way or the other with let it. She
Mhm.
may be even part of all this. Tucker, absolutely, I trust him.
Mhm.
Either one or the other. But one of the things I noticed was he mentioned in that article that you mentioned is that Joe Kent is Kent. He
Yeah.
men- he blamed his wife's death on what was it? Reuben was it current? Was it what was his name? The current president of Israel.
Ariel Sharon.
Sharon.
It
He
was
blamed
Sharon.
Sharon
Back in that time.
for his wife's death, but really, whose fault it was Bush's fault.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't mention Bush at all. Bush is no friend to any of us.
Right.
Either one of the Bushes. I think that was Bush Sr.
It was Bush Jr.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Time flies.
I think his wife died in 2000 and it said 19. But
okay,
he
well,
actually failed to prove the date of his wife dying. So the problem is with the reverse psyop. It backfires, it boomerangs, and the counter narrative is turning the enemy's own message against them. In this case, I think Tucker comes out smelling like roses. Because the thing is, he's the host. Okay? He's providing this platform for this guy to speak. And so my attitude will be how I see this in some way. How do you recognize the psyop that's going forward? Well, I'm going to get to a couple other thought processes as we move on. Let's go to Bongino, because Bongino had some discussions. I don't like Bongino per se at all. I mean, I think lately this Bongino that came back from the FBI is completely different. He's been captured. He's controlled opposition in some way. And in fact is that they got him by the short and curlies. But this breakdown of all this stuff really just threw me for a loop. And I want you to hear what Bongino is saying. Brett Weinstein's text messages with Charlie actually proved the opposite, that Dan Bongino was a liar. Listen to this. He says that Joe Kent is lying about Charlie Kirk being in the White House to advise President Trump against the war. Now, this is the argument that's going on. I put it on X that I'm saying any person who uses this argument in some way to proliferate and profit off the dead thoughts of Charlie Kirk and how he would view this war if he was alive still is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. And then the fact is that how this is all playing out is he's trying to resurrect the spirit of Charlie Kirk's thought process about this and how this is being, let's just say, counter narrative. It's being pushed back in some way. This is what's being unfurled out. Let's play it.
This, I mean, if
an attempted murder of a presidential candidate?
murder of a presidential candidate, and then there's another assassination attempt. There's been multiple public breaches of President Trump's security over the last year.
Yeah, correct.
And then, Charlie Kirk is killed publicly in a very horrific way, and we're not really even allowed to look into that at all.
Okay. Listen.
So he made an argument saying that, hey, look, I was stonewalled by the FBI. Well, dude, I mean, I saw Nick Fuentes come out on a rage like, bro, you have the data. You're able to find out this information. All right. And then you're saying that, you're giving out parse information about all this stuff and you were stonewalled and blocked from actually looking into this in retrospect. See, that's what raised a lot of red flags because a lot of people don't trust the FBI like I don't. They don't trust Bongino's time there I don't. I like Kash Patel, but there is a narrative that it's like, what's going on? Why is it? It's still under investigation. But I thought you caught the guy. Wait a minute. I thought this gay furry killed Charlie Kirk, but we're still investigating. It's open-ended. So this is the problem. So when someone comes out with this agitprop, which is not, it's a real discussion about a lingering and ongoing investigation, which is, we know that for a fact by the FBI, about Charlie Kirk's death, and that do we or do we not have the right person or persons, under duress that's on trial right now. It's a fair, legitimate thing. But the fact he's using this and stretching this out gets a little problematic. Let's play this.
Folks, this part I have to just leave here.
Uh-oh.
This is some of the most disgusting, unethical, and immoral stuff I have ever seen. Leveraging the death of my good friend, his brutal murder, his assassination, that the whole world watched in all of its horrifying gore, for your podcast appearance, you're disgusting. Thank you for your service to the country. You're also disgusting. This is filth.
So he's saying, because this guy's done 11 tours and all this other stuff, thank you. So the problem is you can't move past that, or you can. And he's saying that this guy, there's something went wrong with this guy. There's something off with this guy. And I said this on X, using Charlie Kirk's name in vain, opinions, subjective or not, about Iran, and presuming everything under the sun, what he may or may not have thought of the current situation is disgusting and shameful. So I don't disagree with Dan Bongino, not to mention the profitability of so many accounts benefiting off this is horrible. So in this instance, I agree with this guy, Bongino. I think he is right to make that assessment. Let's move on.
This is just filth. I wasn't allowed to ask questions, Joe Kent. I'm just going to leave that there, folks.
Mm-hmm.
And all you people defending him right now, I'll accept your apology later. You watch. You weren't allowed to ask questions? You sure about that? Sure you want that on the record, Joe? You weren't allowed to ask questions? Really? Go ahead.
Really even allowed to look into that at all. And Charlie Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors, and he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in the Oval Office.
He did? That's fascinating, because I've had conversations with Charlie too. I don't talk about them because the man's dead, and I don't like to invoke his name for podcast clicks, okay? Only to remember him. And I'm not going to do it now. You sure that's how Charlie felt? Matter of fact,
I agree with that. And I'm not a Bongino guy at all. But I think that was clear to as evidence that Charlie Kirk is being somehow brought into this fabrication, all right, and smeared up and down and being utilized and proselytized as the grand poobah of not doing an Iran war. In fact, he said the complete opposite. That's how you know that this Psyop, reverse Psyop, is in full effect. I think so completely. And how I look at the colloquial, and let's put it this way, the idioms that are being expressed out about this guy, because the problem is you can't touch him so much because he's a veteran. He did 11 tours or something like that, and he lost his wife to ISIS, but he lied about it, and a lot of the information about him is spilling out about that he's a CIA asset and all this other stuff, and that it's quite more than probable that the counter manipulation was happening from Tucker's side onto him. And I believe that Tucker was feeding the administration back about his operation. And there you go with the agitprop, and that's what I'm suggesting, Marshall.
Yeah, this guy reeks of it. I mean, the fact that Tucker used to be CIA as well, I believe, or his father.
Yeah.
But again, we've talked about this before. It reminds me of the old the Mad magazine, Spy versus Spy.
Right.
I mean, you've got two guys that are in the same organization, but yet they're on completely opposite sides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the FBI, and we've talked about this, but the FBI and the CIA, they have the good part and they have the dark side, the light and the dark. And those organizations, both, they all have that. Probably all over the government is full of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You've got corrupt people that are running their little operations, and apparently it's starting to look more and more like this Joe Kent here was part of the other side.
Yeah, I think so in some way. Hoglake71, thank you for the cookie. Another cookie. Sean Doe for the cookie. Hoglake again for the cookie. Curious Cat for the cookie. Hello, Sean Doe for the cookie. Thank you all for supporting the platform. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us skull pills, comments, questions, concerns. Thank you for helping out the platform. You could do so in many other ways. You can help out marshallkofi.com/SwiftDog74. All right, let's continue on. Let's listen to this. It gets boom. And I'm not a Glenn Beck fan. I'm not. This guy wraps himself up with the Israeli flag. I'm not a fan of Israel. I don't fucking care about the Jews. It's not my thing. But here's my argument about all this stuff. All right. Listen to this shit with Liz Wheeler and him. And remember, this guy asked to be a dual passport citizen.
Brought this up about Charlie Kirk. And I'm so sick of hearing about Charlie Kirk and what his beliefs were. Right before he died, because I had a conversation with Charlie Kirk right before he died, and he said, I really hate Joe Kent. He's just a bad guy. And now I can't prove that. I have but it was the last conversation that I had with Charlie.
Wow.
He said, I really think Joe Kent's a bad guy. Can you stop with this stuff? Stop with the Charlie Kirk's last conversation was fill in the blank, please. I can't take it. Now, if you have a text from him, you have something, and you can see the whole context of it, great. But can we stop saying, his final words were.
So are we to blame Tucker or Megan or Candace for hosting him on there? If he's saying and espousing all these things, I'm going to show you Megyn Kelly's. I'm not going to show you Tucker's. All right, because he had Megyn Kelly. He was on Megyn Kelly's show yesterday or today, and he's going to be on Candace soon. So is it really their fault that he's there? Or they're hosting him to elevate the propaganda and the agitprop? Or is this, again, what I've been saying, which I said about Tucker, and only Tucker, that this is a counter-manipulation double agent approach? I think for Tucker, that's more relevant. I can't say that for Candace and or Megan. Let's play this.
It was Israel that did it. Can't take it.
It's so disrespectful to his legacy. It's so disrespectful to his family. The funny thing about it, Glenn, is that we have an absolutely enormous library. That man was on air constantly, and he opined on every topic on the face of the earth. And there's no doubt in anybody's mind about what he thought about any particular topic because he talked about them all
the time.
All the time. So the people who are trying to hijack his legacy, put words in his mouth when he cannot correct them, it's despicable in a sense, because the worst type of accusations that you make against someone are false accusations where they're unable to come back and correct the record. And that's essentially what's happening when people are trying to use Charlie Kirk and the grief that we all feel and the respect that we all had for him when he was such an influential leader in our country. They're trying to use that to they're using that as their mechanism of persuasion for their fringe ideas that they cannot sell on their own merit. It's despicable.
That's coming from the Epstein binder bitch. She was one of the Epstein.
Bitch.
So I find it a little hypocritical and opportunistic that she's making these superfluous arguments about Charlie Kirk. Is she correct in that manner? Absolutely. I find it disgusting as well. But I find her an opportunist and a hypocrite simultaneously, yet utilizing and subjectively suggesting that someone else is doing it and when it should have been me who've been doing it or somebody else. But I find that that's egregious at all. Do I believe her? Do I think that she has that type of sympathy about this, or she's just placating, or she's venting? Because I'm venting, and maybe she is too, and maybe he is Glenn Beck. We don't like to see Charlie Kirk being used, all right, as an agitprop tool for Joe Kent or anybody else to say this Iran war is a no-go, is a bop. You know, you don't want to do that. But again, he's doing it. He did it on Tucker. And I think the blowback is embarrassing, even though all the Israeli state haters, the Jews, the haters, all of them in general and stuff like that. And I'm not a hypocrite or an opportunist. I don't like Israel. I don't like the management team of that state. I have my issues with Israelis and their politics and their religion, all that stuff. I do. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Absolutely. But in this case, I could separate myself from a lot of the noise that is happening. And I could see full well how this guy is being used to propagate such a narrative, okay, in such a way to really divide MAGA even further and then bring Charlie Kirk into this discussion. My God, that is the most embarrassing thing I say. And you know what? If the FBI does have some things on him, go get him. The question is, will we find out who he was leaking to? You know, it'd be quite funny in some way he was leaking to Tucker or other people, okay? So in some way, in a similar fashion, then we think that, oh, we know, or the same people that are bought and paid for outside of this whole thing. But this guy was never about who he said he was. So the idea in some way, he went out in a blaze of glory and burned his bridges and attacked the administration. Good riddance. Good riddance, and hopefully we'll find you. And then all the people defending him saying, well, what about Comey? What about Clapper? What about Brennan? What about all these people? Well, you know, they're under indictment. There's actually a case going on in Fort Pierce and in Lakeland. But they forget to leave all the information out about the court cases that are happening simultaneously. They get to fucking not talk about this and just certainly put in certain false dilemmas, which I'll get to, the logical fallacies, Marshall, that I'm about to bring up.
Oh, okay. All right. You know, the one thing that really gets me with these people, especially like Liz Wheeler, and somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, the two other hosts that took over Charlie's show. These people and all these others that are out there, they always say, my last conversation with Charlie, we were close friends, all this stuff. And it's like, you know, do you people can you carry your own weight?
No.
Can you just be original?
Why can't change the name of the show? Why can't you just change it to TPUSA? Or
change it to I Love Charlie.
Why are you sitting there keeping Charlie Kirk's name up there? Because you're making money off of it. You're profiting off of that.
Sick. It's
okay,
gross.
and then you're turning around saying what is taking place is opportunistic and hypocritical. No, I can say that. You know why? I'm not making money off of Charlie Kirk's name, and I don't have a board of directors that are doing the same thing. But you are, and it's hypocritical some way to put this out there and to maintain this in a logical fashion. Is Joe Kent a scumbag? Is he this what I'm talking about? Participating in the double think, the misdirection? Yeah, this guy is an agent provocateur. No doubt about it. He slimed his way into the administration. He got caught. And now he's outing himself to what? To the counter manipulators, the double agents. I call Tucker. I think Tucker is a double agent. Now, you can call me wrong. You can attack me. I know there are people on Pill with really big name accounts and stuff. Don't like the fact that I have a different narrative about this and stuff, but I don't really fucking care. It's not your show. Your show does well, okay? My attitude about how I see these things, I try to break them down in different facets. I don't sit there and be hyperbolic or hyperventilating about, oh my God, these people. It's, oh my God. I try to look at it in different contexts, separately, not group. Okay, even though I talk about the group think, about how this is being assigned and how I broke it down earlier. Let's listen a little bit of Joe Kent and Megyn Kelly. I'm not a Megyn Kelly fan, okay? But again, I'm providing you this information so you can see how it is. I'll just put it out here in a second. She says, ask Donald Trump's former director of national counterterrorism if he was very public about his resignation in protest of Iran war and has been worth it. Now that he's under investigation by the FBI, it's been a few days now since he's issued that resignation, Kelly began. You've been called weak by the president of the United States. You've been basically called a traitor by Lindsey Graham. See, that's hypocritical. See, that's the That's the kettle calling the tea black or whatever the fuck it is. This guy is fuck Lindsey Graham, and I got some stuff on him. But I find it really, really just like the foam at the mouth of calling another spy a spy. Because Lindsey Graham also has his problems. But let's play a little bit of this nonsense.
So it's been a few days now since you issued that resignation. You've been called weak by the president of the United States. You've been basically called a traitor by Lindsey Graham. You've been called an anti-Semite by Mitch McConnell, among others. And now there are reports that you're under a leak investigation. And your two boys, you've remarried felony that could. And now there are reports that you're under a leak investigation, potentially.
Let me say this. So she mentioned Mitch McConnell. He's going out. He's gone. He's going to pass away. You got Lindsey Graham, who's losing his Senate primary to a businessman. We'll cover that. He's losing, and he's going to lose big. A good riddance. Because I don't care about this guy who's beating his pom-poms and supporting a war or what have you. All right? Remember him with John McCain. I will just go instruct yourself about the time that he was around, cum guzzling John McCain's whatever. Enjoy that. Enjoy that. And she mentions these two people who are what? Let's put it this way. They are too hot to handle, too cold hold for the Republicans. Nobody that calls himself a Republican respects either one of these people. So I don't want to fucking hear about that shit. Let's play this.
Accusing you of a felony that could put you in jail, even though you now are raising your two boys. You've remarried, but you're their sole biological parent still here. And I ask you now whether this was worth it.
Interesting.
I think it most certainly was, man. I mean, the attacks against me are to be expected. The ad hominems
All
from
right.
people like Mitch McConnell.
He just said ad hominem. Senor Polo gifted the can. Ken is out there raising his profile to make money for his defense. Well, I mean, yeah, then he could set up his own. What's the accounts that you can do? You can set up your own.
Give, send, go.
Give, send, go, or whatever is out there that they do. I'm surprised he hasn't done that now. And maybe he's going on the circuit in some way to try to raise funds in this matter. But I don't really care. But see, he uses, again, the logical fallacies, and I'm going to go into them. All right. He uses ad hominems as a character assassination, a smear campaign, poisoning the well. Well, who's poisoning the well? You're coming out and suggesting that the Trump administration, okay, and the FBI blocked Charlie Kirk's investigation in some way of finding the truth. All right. So do you have any proof of that? That's number one. Number two, I'm serious. Do you have proof of that? Number two, because they say they're still investigating. Number two, you're going on and using Charlie Kirk's narrative and exploiting him in such a way to help benefit you to drive a certain campaign. All right? This is the straw man effect. He's misrepresenting an argument to appeal to authority, emotion, and popularity. I'm going to go down another illogical fallacy or illogical. He's also suggesting with the false dilemma, he's oversimplifying. You have two choices. You either believe my narrative or believe Charlie Kirk's narrative. And he's basically simultaneously convoluting it. Now he's brought Kirk into this matter and saying, look, if you don't believe me, this is what Charlie Kirk told me in a stairwell in the White House. Here's the other thing. This is a hasty generalization. This is another logical fallacy. He's jumping to conclusions, as you will see, and not suggesting one thing or another. He's not even giving you certain factual evidence. He's just boom, 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 boom. He's dropping certain crumbs that lead to what? Nowhere. So you're supposed to go down these rabbit holes and find him, all right, because he's not providing you logical information to qualify what he's suggesting. Here's the last point as we play this. It's all a red herring. What do I mean by that, Brad? A distraction. His evocation and changing word meanings as he used the term ad hominems is less about what you understand, but it's more about this. And I will leave you with this. We are not fighting over Iran, ladies and gentlemen. We are fighting over the syntax, the vernacular, the semantics of words that are improbable themselves. For example, Gabbard disagreed with Kent's resignation letter. She backed Trump all the way to the end. People said, yeah, I don't know about that, because she said imminent threat. What does that signify? Let me clarify what the synonyms are. Impending, approaching, looming, at hand, forthcoming, inevitable, probable, unavoidable, and likely. You see the problem with that? The vernacular syntax, the native, the language, the dialect, the patois, the colloquialism, and the idioms is what we are fighting. Because she said imminent, a lot of people think like, now, it's happening now. When in fact is, it's impending, it's approaching, looming. And I guarantee you, if the certain language of this was retooled, forthcoming, inevitable, probable, unavoidable, likely, but they used an imminent, meaning happening now, meaning tomorrow, which really doesn't reflect the syntax and the vernacular. That's what we're fighting about. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Let me continue with Joe Kent.
Lindsey Graham at this point are fairly laughable. They don't want to discuss the issues. I want to discuss the issues. As for the leak allegations, I'm not concerned because I know I did nothing wrong. Of course, I am concerned because we've all seen the FBI and the full weight of the government come down on individuals who speak out. So that has me a little bit concerned, but I know the truth and the facts are on my side. So I think the important issues to address are what's at hand, why we're at war, and how we get out of the state that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm. Your boys have already lost one parent. I mean, the thought of this government for which you've been working and the government and the country for which you've sacrificed so much, actually trying to put you in jail over an alleged leak after the number of leaks we've seen go unpunished over the past 10 years is truly outrageous, Joe. I mean, does it anger you? How does it make you feel?
It does anger me, but it's all just to be expected. I knew this was going to happen. I know their playbook. I think we're all very familiar with their playbook. So actually the fact that they're leaking these allegations, so they have to.
Whose playbook? Whose playbook is he suggesting? It's not the Trump administration, because in the first term, the playbook was to leak everything. And there were sieves everywhere. In this administration currently, there are no sieves. You're the leaker. At least that's what we're told. And you're under investigation. So he's suggesting in some way to preface an argument that President Trump is now part of that group that was done to him, that is being now done to him, meaning him, Joe Kent. Kind of hypocritical and opportunistic. Let's continue.
Leak the allegations of an FBI investigation. If there truly was an FBI investigation, and who knows, maybe there will be, then there would be a process and a procedure for that. They would actually formally come to me. And if they were still collecting information, they most certainly wouldn't leak it. So the fact that the FBI, DOJ, or really probably just partisans are leaking this so-called investigation against me at a time when I'm going on and publicly speaking out against the.
So the question is there one going on, yes or no? That we don't know. We're told there is. We're told he's a leaker. We don't know. We don't know anything. In fact, again, this could be another reverse psyop. This is part of the double blind that I discussed. This is part of the narratives that I've been talking about, the double think, the counter manipulation. We don't know what. We can't make heads or tails of anything. Is this to out them or to out him? Who is he texting and communicating with? We just don't know. But the problem is that we're facing right now is as simply as that, and I'm going to say this because I think this is the other part, to spuriously and reflexively use Charlie Kirk's name to rebuke the Iran war or conflict with the U.S. as the ultimate virtue signal. It just moves into that moral grandstanding, the sanctimonious and self-righteous indignation, and I think it's grotesque. And that is typically utilized as a leftist narrative. And so the question is, who is this guy? You know, a lot of people are trying to bring down Gabbard because of him. Why didn't you fire him? You were told to fire him. But in fact, we find out now she wasn't told to fire him. So again, a lot of the subterfuge is all over the place, Marshall. We cannot, in some way, verify any of this stuff. The question is, we're left to ponder who's really telling the truth. What is really going on? This is part of this theatrical masterpiece, this central casting and all this other stuff. He's not central casting. President Trump was really light on laying the boom on him, and makes me wonder, because he comes out hard on people he don't like. And I think it's because of his military background. So the question is, was it because of that, or is it because he has little to no information about him, or is this guy just playing fly away birdie to continue on with what I'm talking about, the counter manipulation, if he is the one tasked to do that? That's just a thought.
The thing that gets me is that I don't ever hear Trump talk about this guy. He really doesn't say much about it.
The question is why?
That's and I don't know. I mean, they're trying to.
But so many people are talking about him, and the way he is spuriously bringing in Charlie Kirk is really ruffling a lot of feathers, including me. Yes. But again, I go back to the double blind, the double agent, the double think. What are we seeing here? Who is the double agent here? Is it him playing two birds of a feather? Or is it Tucker Carlson? Because that was the first one that he met with. And was he communicating with him? We don't know. That's why I'm not sure about how I pose my thoughts about what I see. Go ahead.
And Joe Kent, he said during that whole thing, and he did it before in the last segment, he constantly says this stuff about they, their, them. Well, who the hell are they?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What do you mean they? Who? Yeah. Who they? Who?
Yeah, he's very vague about who
he throws all kinds of shit
if you know something, spill it, buddy. Just tell us. And it seems to me, today, Junior. I mean, he doesn't want to tell us anything. So the fact is that his coyness and his vagueness lend to his incredulity. That makes us all suspect about why he's on this talking, stream, talking, rovering stream that he's on. So again, it really untangles his narrative, and it doesn't carry weight. And so the Jew argument, the Israel argument really just falls on its face like dirt slop because you can't tie it in because he's trying to make that argument. And the question is, you're not the right person to make that argument. That's what I think. I think you failed in trying to make that argument because I think people see through you. Now, other people can make that argument in different ways. But I think in this case, he has not succeeded who he's being paid by or from or for to agitprop that narrative out, Marshall.
He knows that it comes back to him, his buddies.
Yeah.
And by his buddies, I won't be vague. His CIA friends that are corrupt.
Yeah, okay? I think so too.
Yeah,
we don't know who these people are being paid for or brokered out. Here you go. Melissa Tate, turncoat podcaster, gets schooled by ex-CIA agent for real after trying to push it's the Jews conspiracy in regards to attack Iran. And I think this might qualify, not disqualify, the narrative about what we see about Kent. Maybe he is trying to suggest something that's not there, and he is the one that has been caught and cornered. And he's propagating such subterfuge to what? To make sure that he can disguise himself. Let's continue on this. And you know what? Sean Ryan's problematic in himself. He's got a lot of duplicitous background. We'll get to it.
I think we should have bombed Iran back in.
Listen to this.
When was that?
This gets ugly.
It was in the summer. We were in Dubai. We were flying home.
It gets hypocritical.
100%. So the thing is, and Iran knew this anyway. We were always going to bomb Iran when we found out they hit a certain level of enrichment or they could get close to putting.
How did we find that out?
So
because here's what's interesting to me, and I can't tell you who told me this, not on air. Not one of our intelligence agencies fucking said that they were enriching uranium. It was Mossad that came along and told us that.
Well, the first thing is you have to remember Mossad has way better access in Iran than we do. Just to be honest, I have some better accesses in Iran than the U.S. government does. So we have to be really honest about that. The U.S. does have bad access in Iran, so they've always had to rely on other people. So that's no conspiracy. Think about it. That's Iran's greatest enemy. They have the best access here, just like we had the best access in Afghanistan when we were fighting the Taliban there, right? Because that was our enemy. So you have to view it in that lens, okay? So that's not a conspiracy.
Okay, but I mean, remember early on in Afghanistan when we would go into these villages and we would just take somebody's word for it? Oh, no, they're the bad guys, not realizing that these two groups have been battling each other for 1,000 years. I mean, so you know what I mean?
That's not exactly what's happening in this case. So I will tell you, they were 100% enriching, and the U.S. government also has information that they're enriching. It's not just from Mossad. That's 100% not true. I mean, I even had access to a guy who had a family member in the program. The program is real. The program is much farther along than our government was aware. And I think they were caught a little bit with their pants down and real.
So our administration, our CIA, our intelligence clandestine operations, this is the Trump administration, according to her, was caught with their pants down. That the relevant information regarding Iran's enrichment was farther along than what was told. Again, I go back to the syntax, the vernacular of what imminent means and how it's utilized in this discussion. Impending, approaching, looming, and at hand, forthcoming, inevitable, probable, unavoidable, and likely. Does that sound like imminent? No, it doesn't, because we all take imminent like it's going to happen like now or tomorrow. That's what we take imminent as. The problem is it's being utilized and justified in this matter. And what she is suggesting is in some way there was an impending and looming scenario that the enrichment program has moved forward in such a way that we only had a matter of time to nix this. They're not going to show you the relevant, classified, clandestine operation of this. You're not going to see it. You only have the word of Tulsi Gabbard, the CIA director, if you believe him, if you believe the CIA, or President Trump. So which one is it? Do you trust Trump or trust Bushy when he said, they got weapons of mass destruction? They took down the Twin Towers. We're talking apples and oranges here. Do you trust Trump or not? I know you got war fatigue. I got it too. 20-year war. I mean, I'm over it. I don't want to see death and destruction and blood and treasure. I don't want to see, I got to count. I don't want to see more people dying. I get it. I fucking do. But you don't sign up to the military to what? Not fight. Not defend. Or not attack. You don't do that. There's only one reason you join: to defend your country, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, then you fucking move on. But like this character who no longer serves, and this is the point. It's very hard when they're using an agitprop guy that has served his country with a long tradition, lost his wife in Syria, what he lied about, worked for the CIA. Apparently, that was not told to any of us. And now we find out something completely different. Going on this, again, propaganda tour, propagating a narrative, agitprop all over the place. And we're now learning that the term imminent, the syntax and the vernacular are off base. Let's continue.
Realize it is more advanced than we thought. Remember, for like 15 years, they kept saying it's not advancing. Sorry, a program does not advance for 15 years. So our government just kept rolling the same assessment over into every year. And I really do think Trump saw it and said, holy crap, we are so behind in our assessment on this. We got to hit them now. I do believe they had enriched that much. I personally believe it. Remember, I used to work at Iran in the CIA.
There you go. That's massive.
So there's so many conspiracy things around Mossad. You have to look at the facts of the situation. They have been
Sean Ryan is
enriching
probably pissing his
very
pants right now. He's like,
successfully. Luckily, we've been tripping them up over the years, over and over again. And Mossad has done it plenty, taking out their scientists and stuff. But the enrichment still slowly kept happening. People act like, what, for all that time, nothing improved? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, they brought in people, they brought in Libyan scientists after Gaddafi fell. They obviously always brought in Pakistanis. So they have the capabilities and always had it to make it happen. And so I think that's just the whole current anti-Israel propaganda.
Wow. That's an excellent overview. What say you? I mean, we're both not Israeli fans. We're not for the state of Israel, the management, perception management, the team that runs it, the deep state behind it. We're not. You and I are not. So we'll throw that out there. We are not. But we have to have clear-eyed views about how we perceive things and be objective and honest and not subjective in our talking points.
I don't really buy the way that she's presenting it.
Okay, good, fair. I like it.
Now, I'll say why. Why.
I like it.
Because when she says that Mossad has more information about their enrichment program, who's friends with? So they're friends. Look. I'll just say it.
No, please elaborate. I want a counter narrative.
Well, it's not really counter narrative. We agreed on this the other night.
Yeah.
Israel and Iran, they're little secret guys in there running around. They're buds. They're two sides of the same coin. They know if Mossad knows what's going on in Israel, that's because they're helping them run the whole fucking operation.
Right.
They're helping them. Hey, guys, we're going to help you, create a bomb. We can do all this. We can get United States involved. You be our little, our little enemy.
Okay, so you don't like what she was saying. You distrust her commentary.
I disagree with everything she said.
Okay.
I disagree with the way she was trying to spin it.
Okay.
She was trying to spin it.
I get it. So you're saying that how she was posing it is one way, and then how that she was agitated, propping it out was another.
Yeah, she's not going to sit there and say, well, by the way, Mossad and Iran, they're really kind of working together on all this.
Right. Well, we already discussed this the other day that they used to sell weapons to each other back in the 80s, allowed by President Reagan, and that led to the Iran-Contra deal, and then we reconstitute and fortify. So if you watch my show on Wednesday with Marshall and I, you would see that we showed evidence of that from the Wall Street Journal from 1986 that showcased that Israel duplicitously plays both sides.
That's what's happening.
It's not. That's why people don't trust them. You don't trust them when there's a check in the mail. Do you get that? That's the problem. And so any type of discussion on how we actually pose this and how we frame this in some way, we're going to get attacked because you're part of the anti-Israel crowd or the anti-Jew crowd. No, that's not it. I'm just giving you various viewpoints, opportunities that you could see, dialogue and discussions that you make up your own mind. I am not here to tell you how to think. I am not here to tell you what to think. In fact, all I'll say is you better get out and vote. That's all I could say is because I will never tell you not to do that. Senior Apollo, gift of the cookie. Here's an all-natural, farm-raised, free-range cookie. Thank you so much. Trump One, gift of the cookie. Another cookie, Hogley, gift of the can. Another cookie, Super D, what's up? Thank you for the cookie. And Thea, thank you always for being there with the 600 gold pills. Thank you so much, Senior Apollo with the can. And Senior Apollo with the can. Iran was a menace for 37 years. Why didn't the surrounding countries do anything about it? Because they were scared. They were always scared. Okay? They were scared. They knew in some way that it was best to work with them artificially on some surface level that they wouldn't be attacked. They all thought they wouldn't be attacked. But yet, as our American bases expanded in their regions and their territories, what did they do? They shot off their loads left and right to 12 countries. So now every country now, okay, that was hit in that region now knows that Iran, even though they apologize, will will basically what? Face their final and eternal destruction, because none of those countries will regionally ever support them ever again. In fact, they have to support the United States and even Israel to go forward to what? To dismember them. It's it. It's the only way. They know they can't have the United States walk away and let Israel finish it off, because they'll nuke them. They don't want that either. They want this done. They want to fix the Strait of Hormuz. They want to make sure that they are incapacitated in such a way they will no longer be a viable threat, and eventually, hopefully, come to the table to this peace accord to rebuild. Because peace through strength means what? War for peace. That's what it is. It's always about that.
We're breaking up this little. This is what's happening. We're breaking up. That's what's going on. We are breaking up this teamwork, or whatever you want to call it, this partnership that Israel has been working with Iran all these years, decades.
Yeah. And that's why I think in some way a lot of people knew that, look, in some way we couldn't hit them, we couldn't attack them in some way. This whole thing was a staged event. This whole thing was theatrics. There was a planned event where both countries would have some type of equal footing or power, and then whoever get to a nuclear bomb faster would what? Would detonate one in the region and usurp dominance. And since Israel has multiple of them, they stole it from the United States. They're the ones that are going to use their power. Let's move on. I'm running out of time. Was Iran developing a nuclear weapon prior to our military action last June? Did Iran remain committed to developing it? Well, we know Israel has multiple, but no one makes that assertion.
Destruction, in your opinion?
Yes.
Does the Iranian regime have American blood on their hands since its founding in 1979?
Yes.
Has Iran plotted assassination attempts against Americans on American soil?
Look at the faces of the back.
Was Iran developing a nuclear weapon prior to our military action last June? And did Iran remain committed to developing a nuclear weapon in the lead up to this conflict?
Look at the faces.
Yeah, so I want to clarify on that because there's been much talk about a fatwa against the development of a nuclear weapon.
Can you come back to that 1 second? Let me finish
Yeah,
these.
you
That's
bet.
okay. If left unchecked, do you think Iran would have the ability to develop missiles capable of reaching the United States?
Yes.
Did Israel force the U.S.'s hand and make us take action, as some have claimed?
No.
Director Gabbard, do you agree with the CIA director's assessment on that last question in
Yes.
particular? Is the Iranian regime...
Do you believe them or not? That's going to be the ultimate question. Do the American public believe Director Ratcliffe of the CIA and ODNI Director Tulsi Gabbard? That's going to be what, the $64,000 question, and that's how you move forward with that.
Yeah, and their reaction behind, like you said, their reaction behind them, their facial expressions.
That's what I said. Look at their facial expression. Yeah,
tells a lot, says a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm moving on. I got to move fast forward. Okay, listen to President Trump, Roger Stone, not Laura Loomer or Larry Loomer. President Trump basically gives what? He gives quarter to Tulsi Gabbard. She is safe.
I thought she did a good job yesterday.
She did a good job. She's safe. Larry Loomer is putting out that she's going to resign or be fired. If you trust Larry Loomer, who works for Mossad, then you're a fucking idiot. Let me tell you something right now. Tulsi Gabbard right now is, I think, one of the most important, integral parts of the intelligence apparatus there. Not only that she went from Democrat to Republican and what was done to her in some way, that her vital essence about what? Focusing on our election scenarios and what's taking place with foreign interference far, let's just say, overrides everything about her viewpoint about this Iran war. Maybe she changed, maybe she saw some stuff, but as she said and alluded to, Marshall, and I will be clear about this, it's only the president that gets to pick out the directives of the most important intelligence that he can choose from that he must act upon. It is only he. And I thought that was the most loyal and trustworthy, honest opinion that we've seen from an intelligence apparatus that controls the whole IC community. That was the best response I saw in 25 years of a community acting in that way. It's the president and the president's authority alone to choose this. It's not me. Whether my personal beliefs aside, fantastic. I applaud her. fantastic, because you know damn well she didn't support this.
And look at the people that are attacking her and make a note of their names, because she is being attacked by various groups out there, people out there. Those people aren't to be trusted. And when you see them go against anybody in Trump's cabinet, the key guys, you see people attacking them, be wary of them. Watch out for them. I'm not saying, like Brett said, I'm not telling you what to think, but just make a note of who they are and why are they doing it.
All right, we're jumping all over the place. This is kind of a long article, but I'm just going to go to the end. I'm going to put it in the chat. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill, comments, questions, or concerns. Help out Marshall, Ko-Fi.com/surfdog74. You can buy me at coffee.com/surf. We arise, or you can drop us a Rumble rant. You know what to do over here. Everybody on Pillars are killing it. So I just want to show you this. So this is, I call this after the hat, but this is what it really is. It's beyond MAGA. This is something beyond the movement. A study titled Beyond MAGA was published January, and it revealed 4 types of Trump voters. Remember I discussed this? I'm going to go back to it. MAGA hardliners, anti-woke conservatives, mainline Republicans, and reluctant right. This is an excellent article. You need to read this. The report was conducted by More in a Common U.S., a nonpartisan organization which used information from surveys, interviews, and group conversations with more than 10,000 Trump voters. MAGA hardliners are the core Trump base. They're fiercely loyal, deeply religious, and animated by a sense that America is in an existential struggle between good and evil. That is me. That is me 100%. With God firmly on our side, not their side, our side. Anti-woke conservatives are politically enraged and frustrated by the progressive stronghold on public schools, culture, institutions. Mainland Republicans, middle-of-the-road conservatives who play by the rules expect others to do the same. The reluctant right is a group most likely to have voted for Trump transactionally. Yes, we know who those people are. They are people that we can see that were libertarians, that were Democrats before. I can name names, but I don't want to go through it because he was less bad than the alternative. Many in the cohort feel disconnected from national politics and think most politicians don't share their priorities. This group accounts for 20% of the coalition, nearly the same percentage as anti-woke conservatives. MAGA hardliners are only 29% of Trump voters. It is a broader coalition that put Trump back in the White House, and a combination of his core constituency, GOPers, and non-traditional Republicans, such as disillusioned Democrats, that nearly 20% of his overall supporters in 2024 regret voting for him. And is not abnormal for a president. The same percentage regretted voting for Joe Biden in 2021, according to Zogby Analytics. Of course, if the Iran war turns into a drawn-out quagmire, which it's almost winding down and it's almost over, the president's support for the war and his job approval may drastically sink, perhaps reflect poorly on Republicans. Without question, Trump has created one of the most impressive movements in political history. Absolutely. He can't please everybody. Nope. And though he is unlikely to keep support of every MAGA-aligned voter, that would be quite a feat. But for the movement to remain significant force, if it may need the other parts of the coalition, plus if Trump and the GOP focus too much on the hardliners and neglect the other 71%, they can wind up in a similar spot as the Democratic Party, pandering to its base while pushing countless Americans to the other side. Wow. Excellent. My God, that's what I call it, after the hat, Marshall. Your thoughts, my friend. Very good article by Liberty Nation. God, man, they drop so much good stuff. It is being dropped in the chat as we speak. I suggest you listen, watch. You can listen to it. You can watch it. It is a fantastic article. I love every minute about it. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, the libertarians, you know, there's certain groups in the libertarian. I mean, just the same thing. You got those that they turn around. They're all over the X, and not just a libertarian, but these people that are like, I'm done with Trump. I'm done with this, and gas is $5, whatever it is. And they're just done. And I'm like, what's your motivation? Are you, we've been in this thing with Iran for 3 weeks. 3. And one guy today was doing this shit. I'm tired of this stuff. Trump said we're not going to have these forever wars anymore. Well, I'm like, brother, it's been 3 weeks, you know?
Yeah.
And you're already, trying to, what are you doing? Would you, like, as one of the guys mentioned in the chat a minute ago, would you rather have Kamala and her team? Is that what you're looking at? So, I mean, I just don't buy into all these people that they start attacking, and then you realize that they were never really part of any of this. They were never MAGA, to begin with, in my opinion.
All right, so we're going to move off of some of this stuff, but I want to show you some of the stuff from the Intelligence Committee. Some of this stuff was good, but I got a lot more to go. Well, let's play this.
Testify that Iran was not building a nuclear
This
weapon.
is fire.
Do you
Fire,
stand by
fire,
that statement?
fire.
Yes or no?
Context matters with that
Yes or
statement.
no? Yes.
Iran had all of
I
the
reclaim my
materials
time.
and
I reclaim my
capabilities
time.
to do so.
Mr. Chairman, I reclaim my time. It's an easy answer. You either stand by what you said last year or not.
It is
And
a serious question that requires the
Director
totality of the
Gabbard, I
information
reclaim my
available.
time. I reclaim my time.
It's absurd.
Did you, when President Trump was
Go
asked
back
about
to Mexico,
your,
you stick nigger.
testimony, he said you were wrong. Were you lying or not?
I stand by the intelligence
Great.
community's
With that,
complete assessment.
Director Ratcliffe, when it came to the director's testimony, she said that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon last spring in Congress, and so the Supreme Leader has not authorized the nuclear weapons program. Do you agree with what she said or not? Yes or no?
The director's right here. She can speak for herself.
Oh, so I thought this was an intelligence community briefing.
This guy's a fucking dolt.
Let's move on. Trump also said he didn't care what you thought or said. Should he care about what you have to say when it comes to intelligence?
I continue to provide the president with the intelligence community's
Look
assessments
at the
on all
background.
matters.
Look at this smirking.
So let me just kind of get this straight. The department, you said that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon last year. President Trump said he didn't care what you thought, and you were wrong. They engaged in Operation Midnight Hammer. He then says it was obliterated. We hear later reports that in open source reporting that it was only set back by a few months. Then at the beginning of this war, he said that they were weeks away. I just want to kind of get a sense of, were they weeks away of achieving a nuclear weapon? Yes or no?
Congressman, this is a serious matter.
See, I go back to the argument I said. See how the Democrats and other people are utilizing the syntax and the vernacular. That's why I pushed this out earlier to explain. And the semantics of certain choice words that could be in some way idiomatic that are reflexive of how they're viewing this. So imminent in some people's minds somehow thinks like it's happening right now, when in fact the synonyms and the choice words are impending. They are approaching. They are looming. They are inevitable. They are probable. They're likely and unavoidable. That doesn't mean imminent is happening now. But again, I was trying to preface a supposition that we're not fighting the Iran war with the Democrats and all these other people. We're fighting the language and linguistics of the idioms and certain other things that they want to use as agitprop. That's the problems with dialect, especially from that fucking third worlder, the patois, the colloquialism, and the idioms. Do you understand? This holy argument is about eminent. It's eminent. They are focused on that word. They don't even know what it means, especially that fucking spick nigger. So the idea that fucking Mexican is telling her, okay, in some way, he knows what eminent means, when in fact is none of them know what it means. The fact that it was a choice word to be put in there propagates a narrative that it was immediate, when in fact it was less than that. But however, the context and the way it was prescribed and delivered is the choice words, and thus they are taking out of context.
and you've made some
Yes or
very
n-
serious mischaracterizations
Yes
here.
or no? Were they weeks
and so
away?
It would be
Yes
a
or no?
disservice to you and the American people to answer this
Reclaiming
question
my time.
with a mere yes or
Reclaiming
no.
my time.
I reclaim my time that I don't want to see these fucking foreigners in Congress. Marshall, your thoughts?
They shouldn't be allowed to run unless
They should not be allowed to run. I don't want to see a Perez or Gomez. I don't fucking care if you're like from Texas, you were born there. Fuck, dude, listen. This whole thing, how many people in Congress are third worlders that weren't really, let's just say, born on American property? That's another thing we need to get back to. Questioning our OD&I with that choice words, which I find disgusting, inflammatory, because he doesn't even understand, because he doesn't speak the language. He thinks eminent is like, well, he's trying to box her in with what is being told with the agitprop. Yeah.
Said weeks. And the other thing is, look, we talked about it Wednesday night. I mentioned it. This whole nuclear thing is really the narrative for simple people and the NPCs out there to understand. It's a good narrative. I get it. I'm not saying it's not totally true, but you can't go out and say, well, the British Kingdom and blah, 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 and all the other stuff that we talk about on your show. The average person is going to be like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. So you have to just say, look, this is the deal. We got to help these people. We got to get the oil going, and we got to get the energy, and we've got to get these nuclear weapons stopped. That's just, I mean, which you can't just go out and blurt out, you know.
Super D, Brett. Yeah, got it. You got it? You understand what I'm saying? Or you're just being superfluous and funny and, you know, idiomatic? I mean, I hope that what you're saying is that you get it, or you're just making fun of how I speak and stuff.
I think it's a compliment.
Oh, no, I take it as a compliment. I think he's basically saying, yeah, because I like to say, you know, what the funniest thing is, like, when Thomas calls me and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. What does that mean? Yeah, go ahead. It's the way I speak. What I'm trying to say is that how you can utilize certain vernacular and syntax and break down certain idiomatic conversations and stuff is verbose based upon how they're actualizing it at the moment. The Democrats are suggesting in some way, and other people are saying that eminent means now, today, and it does not mean that. Okay? It does not mean that. All right? Everybody is not using the word eminent actually wrong. So it's impending. It's possible that it's likely that's going to happen very soon. It's looming. It's unavoidable.
Foreseeable future.
Foreseeable future. Forthcoming. I just think that in some way they took eminent to mean tomorrow.
Christmas is imminent.
Yeah. All right. So we got to move on to the other part of the show that I had about polls. You trust the polls? They're cute. Now, this is a whole fight with Caroline Levitt. Do Trump's Iran strikes poll well? All right. So does President Trump's war with Iran poll well with Americans? The answer is complicated. On Friday, the House Secretary, Caroline Levitt, amplified the political polling, which shows 81% of self-identified MAGA Republicans approve of Trump's military action in there. As I've said repeatedly, Americans trust President Trump as their commander-in-chief and support his efforts to eliminate the terrorist threats and keep us safe. Levitt said on Friday, there is no MAGA fracturing, no matter how many times the media tries to claim otherwise. Okay. The poll suggests that the strikes have a 43% support among Americans overall, 61% support among non-MAGA Trump supporters. But the polling also goes into a more granular detail on how Americans and the president's core base interpret the conflict in light of his 2024 campaign anti-war stance. Yes. The survey asked whether Trump broke his pledge to not start wars if elected. Across the board, Americans view Trump's Iran posture as a shift. A total of 62% of respondents said Trump's decision to launch strikes broke his pledge. And out of this block, 37% said it did so unnecessarily, and 25% said it was necessary given the change of circumstances. See, this is the problem with how you actually stage a narrative flip. The problem is that we don't have a legitimate discussion between the anti-war, anti-escalation genuine dissent, dubious, unsure, and questionable attitudes and motives about how this is broken down. It's just laid to waste. So that's why the polls suggest one way or another. Only 19% said Trump's decision to launch the strikes had not broken his campaign pledge, and 18% didn't know. Among the MAGA Republicans, of those who support Leavitt, boasts a 55% majority characterize the war as breaking campaign pledge, with 36% saying it was necessary and 19% saying it was unnecessary. Meanwhile, 37% said it did not break a pledge. Additionally, 61% non-MAGA Trump supporters thought the war broke a promise. That's big. That's big. And that's what you're seeing on X. That's what you're seeing with people that weren't Republicans, that were more likely independents, libertarians, or Democrats in some way, who didn't like the alternative. White House spokesman Davis Ingle told Daily Signal in a statement, "What matters most, the American people are having a commander-in-chief who takes decisive action to eliminate threats and keep them safe," which is exactly what President Trump is doing, which is the ongoing successful operation of Epic Fury. And I believe in some way the media is part of this nonsensical attitude to really undercut the administration's foothold of telling you the truth about what's really going on, which we didn't have with the Iraq war. I mean, Don Rummy would come out half fucking buzzed out of his mind and saying, it's not about the oil, and then it's about the oil. It's not about this, it's not about this. And in fact, about all the stuff that were happening, Abu Ghraib, and all the violence and the torture and stuff. What the fuck was that war about? To this day, no one knows what this war is about. There was no WMDs. There was no about regime toppling. All we did was make this country worse than what it was. In some way, yeah, it took a long time for it to get back to what it was, but it will never be what we lost in blood and treasure there. This will not happen, Iran. It will not happen. The American people, the people that vote for President Trump, that support him, will not tolerate it. They won't. They will not reflexively tolerate it. But this is a different story. A different story. There's not 500,000 at the beachhead like there were in Iraq, stormtrooping through, murdering over 1 million Iraqi women and children. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. While they get to Saddam Hussein and his sons. Not going to happen. This is a totally different scenario.
Yeah, it's not going to last very much longer. I mean, I think
it can't last.
The Karg Island, that's going to be, we mentioned the other night, that's going to be a key. That is a key part of it.
Are there going to be boots on the ground? Yes or no? Do you think they're going to somehow have to secure the oil wells, maybe arrest or take down or shoot or kill and capture IRGC that's there? I mean, if in some way that beachhead or that front controls the Strait of Hormuz, then you have to take it by force with physical boots on the ground. And I believe 4,000 troops have already been ready, 2,200 or about to take over that. So again, I've been saying most likely it's going to happen. You will have a small, minute amount of boots on the ground to control the Strait of Hormuz, the oil, the LNG, and a lot of other things. And
once the island is taken, that's it.
Well, if the island is taken and it's under our control, because you have Apaches and other helicopters that are, what's the other helicopter? It's not just Apaches. What's the other one? The Blackhawks. They're going to be in there. So that means if you're going to have Apaches helicopters surrounding the island, they're going to have support above and then ground troops in there. It's game over. But it depends on how you view this. Some people are just saying this could be the worst thing ever and stuff. I don't know what is going to take to change people's hearts and minds.
And the polls have always been, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, the polls have always been bullshit. We all know that. Mm-hmm. So don't have a short memory, guys.
Yeah.
Remember the polls.
This is not Iraq. There's not 500,000 troops in Iran. No fucking way. Half of the Iranian people are fleeing to outside areas. All right. They're waiting for the control of Americans to come in, but we're not coming into Tehran. Maybe there are clandestine, secret JSOC, Delta Force, Mossad, or other people intertwined in there and stuff. But as we know, as far as we know, that we're being told that the possibility of taking this island is more than likely. You either get on board or you don't. You either get on board or you don't. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't want to see any of these Marines killed. I don't want to see any of this stuff happen. I understand the likelihood is possible, but my point is that that's my deference about how I feel about this. I mean,
when the island
it is
goes,
what it is.
Yeah, when the island goes, then they're going to lose so much in the mainland of
Well, the thing is, I want to, like Dissent said, let the oil pass through, they get their money, and then they allocate us the funds, all right, or we take it from them to pay for the fucking war. Now, Bulberg comes out and says, yeah, we're not supporting this war. We're not going to vote on this. You gave $300 billion to fucking Ukraine. You extrapolated and you took our munitions. You kept us at a low level. Fuck you. Fuck every Republican and Democrat that signed off to that war. But something in this matter that has impact. Oh, no. Excuse me. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with everybody. You could send money to Ukraine left and right, like you jerk off in the bathroom or you rape somebody in a house, and it goes what? Unnoticed. But you can't come up with $200 billion to help Americans and the war effort that we're fighting to protect and set up a peace process.
You're freezing up. You blew out your sinuses.
I am so fucking disgusted with all of it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Lindsey is losing on June 9th. Graham is well under 50% and at just 41%. And while Lynch has moved up 21%, a third candidate, Paul Daines, is at 11% and 22% unsure. South Carolina polls show Lindsey Graham is in trouble. This cum-guzzling, goo-gobbling, fucking bloodthirsty monster needs to be what? Put back into his box and buried so far away into the foothills of South Carolina. And good riddance.
Appalachicola.
Appalachicola. I just,
there
I
with the
fucking can't
inbreds.
stand. Yeah, my heart monitor maxed out. Actually, yeah, I'm tripping. I'm wearing something like that. Bye, Lady Graham. Yep. Yeah, fuck it.
It went right to the internet, man. You're
Yeah. They shut. Yeah, they coming after me. My Apple Watch stroked out. No, I actually stroked out a little bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, I mean, the comments are, everybody's loving it.
Yeah.
You just don't.
I know.
Just keep you.
But when I see Lindsey
take
Graham,
a magnesium tablet.
you know, it's not about him being gay. I don't fucking care about that. I really don't. I fucking hate his blood-thirsty lust.
Yeah, he's like loving
I
it.
just like, and this is the guy who went to Israel to coax Netanyahu and President Herzog in how to work with President Trump for a better deal. Do you know that? He did that.
He was on his knees.
I go, why isn't he on the, is he registered as a FAR? He's a sitting senator. To me, that's seditious. Man, that guy, I don't know what to say of it other than like, he's got to go. I'm just
He's
sick
still
of
a
this
fairy
all.
either way.
What's that?
He's still a fairy.
Yeah.
A little freaking fairy, man.
All right, let's get into a couple other things. We got some time. So here we go. This is about, we're talking about what happened with Comey, indicted again. We're talking about Barack Obama. Let's listen to this. I don't like fucking.
That's important for people to understand
this?
is that this is not a secret effort that we're talking about. This is something that Trump allies talk about in public. Here is an advisor of the White House named Mike Davis talking about what his buddy, Mr. Quinones, is up to.
My good friend Jason Redding Quinones got confirmed as the U.S. attorney in the Southern District of Florida in Miami. And I've been calling for a criminal probe for the last 3+ years since the Mar-a-Lago raid for a grand jury to investigate conspiracy against rights under 18 U.S.C. Section 241 for these lawfare Democrats, how they politicized and weaponized intel agencies and law enforcement, going back 8 years to crossfire hurricane to take out Trump. His top aides like Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, Jeff Clark, his supporters on January 6th. I've been very publicly calling for that on your show and 5,000 other media hits for the last 3 years. There's now a special grand jury that that Jason just motioned the court in the Southern District of Florida to open in Fort.
This is in Fort Pierce. So Comey is coming to testify. He's been subpoenaed. So a lot of people are on the hot seat. A lot of things are happening that are moving. I think here, I'll show you this. This is the James Comey thing. I didn't get to cover that. I think I should. I think this is important, but it's not part of my show. But James Comey subpoenaed yesterday as a part of Florida's grand conspiracy investigation. It's happening. James Comey, no stranger to the court. See, the subpoena is issued by the DOJ's grand conspiracy probe. It's in Fort Pierce. The case is overseen by Eileen Cannon. I think everybody knows who that is. Under these circumstances, Comey is not going to get the same protection as before. In other words, what it is, why it matters. The investigation has produced more than 130 subpoenas since cranking up last year. The sources say the target's top officials who work under the former President Obama and Biden. The officials, including Comey, have all decried the investigation of the political persecution. The Trump administration's grand conspiracy theory posits that the Democrat officials bent the rules, broke the law, and lied under oath. Okay, we get that. While popular with the online right, the idea of criminal grand conspiracy is so far failed in the courts, which critics say is proof there's no real crime, which is not true at all. So it just goes on and saying, and I don't want to speak too soon, but it looks like James Comey and others are involved in conspiracy against President Trump are finally about to face their, let's just put it this way, their finality. And I think we'll see. We'll see what happens. But is this a good thing? This came out like what? The same time about calling out the leaker of this guy, Kent, in some way. And, what the hell is he? What is he doing in some way? What is going on with that? All right, let's get to the next topic of conversation, because I don't want to, leave this. When I put out the points of conversation in the title, we covered a lot of the genuine dissent reverse side. Trust the polls, after the hat. That was a great article. I'll put some other stuff out there. Falling skies. I think we need to get to this. Would USA, thank you for the 717 gold pills. Need more gold pill love. Support the boy stream. Thank you. Highlight, thank you for the cookie. I saw someone, Casey Snowman, 485. Gift of the phone. Love your passion, Brett. Love your show. Well, you know what? Thank you. And I love the fact that you love my passion. Some people don't. They tell me to calm down, take a Valium and stuff. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke weed. Yeah, I drink scotch or drink bourbon. I don't, but the point isn't what I'm trying to say is that I am passionate because there are a lot of things that I think in some way that are so opportunistic and hypocritical simultaneously. And the dichotomies that overlap in some way are not expressed. So when I go and put this out there, and then I see people say, well, he's a Tucker guy. Yeah, I like Tucker's how he explains things, discusses things. Is it comical? Is it funny? Does he have good discussion with some people? Yeah, but that's about it. I don't care about Megyn Kelly or Candace Owens. I don't support them at all. But what I'm saying is simply I'm allowed to have my own thoughts and opinions and view things and prescribe a certain analysis that I think maybe other people overlook because they're low IQ, or the fact is that their emotional intelligence gets the best of them, Marshall.
This, and I won't even go into that, but the Comey thing that is happening down in Fort Pierce, that's huge. And you won't see the media anywhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the media do you see anybody talking about that.
And it was quietly put out with the Joe Kent stuff,
yep, exactly,
overriding the commentary. And then he put out some information. Thank you, Senor Polo. Gift of the can. We Are Rise is better than every mainstream media show. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you're all enjoying everything over here. Everybody's quiet over here on Rumble. What's going on, Linda Perino? Good to see you. Yes, thoughts and prayers for Thomas. Good to see everybody over here. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Help out Marshall, ko-fi.com/surfdog74. Let me get to this. So we're going to talk about falling skies a little bit, and then I have some other things that we'll part out from. I think so. Breaking news: the meteors. There's meteors falling across the United States skies. Were actually Iranian drones. This is what they're reporting. Fireballs over Ohio, Pennsylvania, California exposes aerial strikes. Now, the question is, what you can discern from this and decipher from it, that's your best guess. I only saw this because I saw that the uptick of the questioning, the rationale, the reasoning about how to report this in some way. So I'm just putting out their assessment. I don't have an opinion about it, only about what I've seen in video footage, and I can't explain what it is or what it's not. The meteor streaking across American skies on the 17th, 18th, and 2026 are the Iranian drones launched in retaliation for U.S. strikes on Tehran. Military sources inside the Pentagon confirm that. Okay, do you believe that? I mean, do they have the capability, all right, to launch drones over here? Are the drones already over here with these assets that are in place from Mexico or other parts of, let's just say, Canada, what have you? We'll never know. The fireballs over the Midwest, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Pacific coast were not natural space rocks. They were Shahed 136 variants and modified long-range loitering munitions that lost propulsion or were remotely detonated after penetrating U.S. airspace detection gaps. Wow. That's amazing. The event timeline locks in on the 17th of this month. Bright objects lit up eastern U.S., triggering booms that shook homes from Ohio to multiple states. NASA publicly labeled them meteors. Residents filmed the streaks and panic spread. The next day on the 18th, similar fireballs appeared over Los Angeles, with civilians flooding emergency lines and reporting Iranian drone strikes or attacks amid the ongoing MSM outlets like NBC, Euronews pushed the meteor narrative hard. But the visuals maintain or match Iranian drone terminal descent profiles, slow deceleration, fiery trails from falling engines, and explosive fragmentation on impact or self-destruct. Let me just go through this. The escalation of the conflict was not isolated. Iran had escalated this on the 28th, authorized by Epic Fury, the IRGC command centers, missile sites, and drone factories. Tehran responded with waves of Shaheeds across Middle East, hitting U.S. bases, Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. 6 American servicemen died. Kuwait, from a direct strike, the regime shifted to testing the homeland reach the U.S. Carriers like the USS Lincoln, Ford, remained pinned in theater, and leaked FBI bulletins from early March warned Iranian vessels off the California coast preparing UAV launches. Wow. The White House downplayed it as unverified, but the objects falling from the sky proved the capability existed. Intelligence suppression, origin, deep state elements inside the intelligence community suppressed the truth to avoid public outrage over the border vulnerabilities. The drones likely launched from a cargo ship or submarines in the Pacific, exploiting gaps in NORAD and coverage focused on ballistic threats. Once inside the U.S. airspace, they flew low-altitude profiles to mimic meteor entries, high heat signatures from atmospheric friction, masking their origin, and military radar tracked anomalies, but classified them under space debris protocols to prevent escalation panic. The booms were sonic from fragmentation, not re-entry alone. Debris recovery teams in Ohio, California, and DoD control with fragments matching Iranian composite materials and guidance. Okay, I'm going to skip through this. I'm going to show you some of the pictures. Technological warfare, global ties. You're saying with Chinese assistance that these drone programs were allowed to operate on American soil. The falling objects expose battle lines. Every citizen in Ohio, Pennsylvania, California now lives the coast of delayed decisive action. Trump fights to end the threat permanently. The deep state fights to contain its hiding debris and pushing meteor lies. Let me ask you a question. Remember everything that happened in New York and New Jersey and all the drones that were all over the place in some way that was done by us in some way to get us comfortable with the idea that there's a lot of this type of subterfuge and subjectivity regarding around our space and what's up there and what's happening, what's going on. Was this also to alert us of these narratives? I think the possibility of understanding of what we do, understand about the minuscule amount of drone technology over our skies by foreign agents across the border, what have you, or in let's just say foreign territories of seas is really disconcerting. Let me just show the pictures. I'm just saying right now, my problem with IC, what happened to the pictures? Oh, I think they killed. I had all these pictures. Oh, They nixed all the pictures. I think they took them off. Let's see if I can. Hold on.
There, right there.
Let me see if I can. Oh, okay. Here's the. This is Red Oak, Texas. Is that a meteor? I mean, does that go up and down? Is that a drone? I mean, a UFO? What the fuck is that? This is moving.
Like, what is that?
Have you ever seen a meteor just go 360? We'll get out of that. It's an odd coincidence, don't you think? I mean, what's your thoughts? Let me see if there's other ones. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, I don't know what to really make of it. I mean, it seems to me. Look, if this came, there's no way it came off of a ship, an Iranian ship off of the coast of California. We got rid of their whole navy. They're not anywhere near us.
That's what I thought. That there's just so much stuff. Yeah, I don't buy any of that either. But is it Chinese stuff? I mean, is there other people that are operating this information? Look at this. NASA says it's a meteor over Ohio weighed 17,000 pounds, of course. That is the number. I mean, exploded over Northeast Ohio on March 2026. I'll play it.
Security camera. Incredible sight in the skies over Northeast Ohio just a few hours ago. Take a look. This was posted to social media by the superintendent of Olmsted Falls Schools. That's near Cleveland. It was captured from a camera on their bus garage. NASA confirming right now that this was a meteor streaking across the sky.
I mean, it's easy to label it a meteor, but meteors don't go 360, Marshall. They don't go 360 in any way. And I just find it just like uncomfortable, just like talking about these things because we just don't know what is not, I'm not going to use the term imminent. That is across our borders, across Canada, across Mexico, that is looming, that is approaching, that is unavoidable. These things are actionable. And I am deeply concerned about how much directly our path lies in. That's why President Trump speaks about a dome that is going to protect us. And I think an event will have to happen in order to accelerate the looming or pending scenario, the unavoidable, imminent discussion that we have all the time that a disaster will take place, whether it's regarding this or something else.
I feel like I have to say, I feel like this is us.
So you think it's us? Okay.
I almost feel that way. I'm not saying there's no way of knowing, but I mean, look, you can't get these people are not just coming over our airspace,
right?
Like that.
I
willy nilly. Give me a break. No,
but they're not meteors, that's for sure.
Well, no, they're absolutely not.
So they continue on with the propagandist viewpoint.
I think that's what this is,
right? So there's no direct threat. We don't have foreign-born, let's just say, provocateurs inside our country that are ready to do battle and put us and plunder us into some type of situation. Is that what you're saying too? And so that we can discount all this. You think it's a small amount? You don't think it's a big amount?
I think it's a possibility that is true. But
have we contained it, or we have not seen it yet?
If we hadn't contained it, people would be dead.
Okay.
I mean, there would be something catastrophic going on.
Right.
I think I don't know. I almost feel like this is like to get people to open their eyes.
Yeah, I think so too. As we move forward, TSA officers are doing their jobs. Remember, Department of Homeland Security has been defunded. Okay? All right. So the only people that are funded that were part of the big, beautiful bill were ICE officers, CPB in some way. Everybody else is not. Secret Service, you name it, you go down the list, TSA. But listen to this.
It does not feel great to know that you're doing your job, you're getting paid, and I am not.
Did you know that while members of Congress are still getting paid, TSA officers are not?
I can't help but notice that we are at Reagan National Airport, which is a very unique airport in that it is the airport that most members of Congress use.
This is true.
Can you tell me what it's like seeing members of Congress pass through your security lanes? They are paid. It's up to them on both sides of the aisle to get you paid. Can you tell me what it's like to see them pass by?
It's one of those things where you realize like you're coming through and I want to ask you questions and I want to have that conversation with you, but it's not the time for it. But it's like, do you see me? Do you see that I'm showing up every day? Do you see that I'm doing the work, that I'm putting in the effort, and there's still no change for me? It does not feel great to know.
Let me just say this. She has one of two choices: shit or get off the pot. You signed up for this job. I don't like Homeland Security Agency, the department. I don't like TSA. I am saddened for these people who are not getting paid. My attitude is, if you're not getting paid to do a job, then quit. That's my attitude. That's my belief. But you already signed up for whatever plan of action you did, and you knew the risk. You took that. That was your choice. So in some contexts, you really can't bitch and moan, because you know this is what happens working for the government. And you understand the political viability and nature of all this stuff if you have the acumen to process that. That's why you don't work for these agencies. In fact, I would never work for the TSA. I don't care how much money. I wouldn't work for any of these appropriations in some way under Homeland Security, other than ICE, because I got no problem wanting to beat the shit out of an illegal criminal alien that is a pedo, that is murdering, raping people, and fucking throw them over the border or in the ocean and let fucking the sharks take a fucking bite out of their ass. But my attitude about what I see about these things, you know, keep your mouth shut or shit or get off the pot, because you signed up for it. You knew the reality of the situation. Is it terrible? Is it untenable? Is it disgusting? Yeah, then quit. Because if you're not getting paid, who wants to work for somebody or something that doesn't pay you? Fuck that, right, Marshall?
Well, and I look, I don't feel sorry for her. And all these people do is make life hard. They make life hard. They steal from you. They thieve from you. They fill you up. They grope your kids. They grope your wife.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying.
Right.
Fuck these people. We've talked about this before. She needs to go and get an honest fucking job that's not in the government. These people, this is a welfare job. That's what it is.
Right.
They get like $40,000 or whatever a year. Go out in the real world and get a job. Okay? And the TSA needs to be gone, and they need to privatize the security in our airports. And I know you agree with that one, Brad.
100%. I mean, I don't think there's any opportunity not to feel that way. I don't want the government controlling it anymore. I think it's lost all viability control. And maybe we're going to go that way, because if something happens, there's not going to be many people that want to work for the government knowing they're not going to get paid, but from a private institution that is secured and guaranteed, which will have strong, let's just say, certain controls. Thank you, Trump one, for the cookie. Here's another thing I want to play for you. So Denmark plotted to blow up Greenland runways to stop U.S. planes. This comes from legal insurrection. See, we are paying NATO. NATO is garbage. They are weak. They're feckless. And every one of those fucking countries is going to go down the wrong path. They're godless. They're being fucking anesthetized and butt-fucked and raped by Africans and third-world scum that are allowed to pillage their countries, and they're going down a path that they cannot come back from. They can't. And Denmark, who thinks they got the hand up. I don't know who this fucking country is. I will never step foot in this fucking country. But the fact that they attempted to blow up Greenland runways to stop U.S. planes shows you the outright vitriolic discussion about how they look at the United States and President Trump, and the reciprocal attitudes we should all feel about Canada and Mexico and the continent of Europe. My God, these people suck. And I can't wish them a better holy hell. I can't wait to come for Shinebox when she's begging for our help. I can't wait when Canada is going to be bled out to dry, because they're euthanizing hundreds of thousands of people without even prescribing any type of medication. They're just murdering the people.
White people.
The Chinese influence, the fucking Islam influence, their continent, their country is fucking destroyed. You have South America and other parts are being saved by Trump in the United States. This Donroe Doctrine is being what? It's being emasculated out all over the place. Excuse me, emasculated out to all over the place. And I'm going to tell you something right now. How we see this going forward is going to change our trajectory. To deploy troops to Greenland, equipped with explosives and blood supplies in the event of they planned on thinking there was going to be a military attack, fearing U.S. invasion of Greenland. In January, Denmark allegedly drew up plans to destroy the island's runways to prevent American, not Chinese, American aircraft from landing because they had already set aside Chinese runways that were not paid in tow. They just pulled back from this, but they didn't blow those up. They were planning on this to prevent American aircraft from landing, according to Thursday report of the Danish public broadcaster DR, citing a 12 high-level source inside the Danish government and military sources among Denmark's allies in France and Germany. The outlet said it had reviewed a January 13th operation order outlining a secret plan to deploy Danish troops to Greenland to equip explosives and blood supplies in the event of military conflict. Euronews reported the plan was conceived after President Trump signaled that the World Economic Forum in Davos in January, the U.S. would seek to annex autonomous Danish territory. In fairness, Trump told attendees, I don't want to use force. I won't use force. All the United States is asking is a place called Greenland. Both Greenland Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen and Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen were adamantly opposed to the course of action. And with the Operation Absolute Resolve, the U.S. military operation that captured Maduro, fresh in the mind, tensions were already high. A Danish military official who spoke to the DR on condition of anonymity, when Trump says all the time he wants to buy Greenland, and then we see what happens in Venezuela, we had to take all possible scenarios. Unbelievable. I thought they're part of NATO, Marshall. This is absolutely disgusting and wretched. And he is right. They are cowards. None of these people are going to join the fight to protect the Strait of Hormuz. We're basically going to have to retool a new NATO. It might be the Middle East. We might possibly conceive with this peace process, peace board of nations that are going to be outside the European Union, that are going to fall under this edict to retain power. That includes Russia and maybe China. Unfucking believable.
These people need to be put in their place, Brett. And he's already started he created. What is it? Peace board. The peace board.
The Middle East peace board. Yeah.
Yeah. And you put all these people together, we redraw the whole lines of everything.
Yeah.
The European Union and the Europeans in general, aka the British Kingdom, they've been the problem this whole time. They are nothing but a problem. They have done nothing for us. We've always been their simps. I'm tired of simping for these damn assholes, these liberal cucks. They sit there and they let these migrants flood their fucking country, rape their women. It's disgusting. It makes me sick, man.
Yeah, it makes me want to shoot somebody. This is what my next thing is. KC Snowman, thank you 48.5 for the gifting the can. I know some people had some choice words with me. Thank you, Trump one for the cookie. But look, is Denmark the turd in the pool? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they are.
It's the turd in the pool. I mean, the fact is that they would do that. And this was released, shows you how serious Greenland has become if we secure that. They're willing to do everything they can to make sure we don't get it. And now, after we declare victory in Iran, every fucking country and continent on the planet must yield, must genuflect, and must what? Receive their proper what? Cane smacking. Because if you don't, you will be moved out of the way. The idea is in some way that we're going to sit on the sidelines and allow shit to happen. Wait till Cuba is being consummated by the United States, just completely taken over. Wait till other things happen. Things are going to happen and move so quickly. People are going to ball sweat. Who's saying that? Who's having ball sweat? Not me. I'm not fucking sweating my balls. I can tell you that right now. But there is a lot of people that are going to be ball sweating all this. But the fact that Denmark acted in this manner is very disgusting and highlights the hubris of Europe, the continent of Europe, and our NATO EU partners who are not our partners. They're not our friends. They can give two shits about us. And you know what? After finding the kid's body in Spain washed up on the shore because a buzz of Muslims stole his phone and murdered him and beat him to death, you should not be traveling to Europe or Spain, especially to Spain and all these other places. Maybe go to Italy. A little bit safer these days. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Don't give them your money. Don't waste your time. Don't do it. Trusty Turnip, thank you for the cookie. 19 million Americans, study finds, has seriously thought about shooting someone, a national survey suggests. Let me tell you right now, this survey doesn't include me of thinking about how many of someone's I do want to shoot. See, does that take into the lore of shooting somebody? Think about, I got a list of people I want to fucking pop off. I wonder if that gets to that. I'm being, facetious, but maybe. Let me go on. So the research shows that owning a gun and political affiliation has no link to harboring the violent thoughts. In a nutshell, let me blow this up so you guys can see it, because I thought this was funny. It's funny because it's a survey that more than 7,000 U.S. adults suggest that roughly 19.3 million Americans seriously thought about shooting another person at some point in their lives. I'm surprised this number is not higher, with about 8.5 million reporting those thoughts in just the past year. And I would think those numbers are not even higher. Nearly 3 in 10, only 3 in 10, not 10 out of 10 people who reported these thoughts didn't own or have access to a gun, pointing to the need for prevention strategies. Men, younger adults, Black Americans, urban residents were among the groups most likely to report these thoughts, while gun ownership and political affiliation showed no meaningful connection. Yeah, okay. About 4 million people who had thoughts of shooting someone told another person, a disclosure researcher, say it could serve as a critical intervention point, especially states with red flag laws. I'll leave it at that. But these numbers are just completely off. I mean, there's just no way. There's just no way. Because first of all, if you critically ask me, have you had any of these thoughts? Well, I'd say I'd list a bunch of people I'd want to shoot. Then I'd move that aside. How about in this year? I'd move that aside. Okay, so the idea that they toil with this in some way, they roughly combine populations in New York and Los Angeles, and at some point seriously thought about that, which have strong gun laws. Los Angeles, less likely than New York. The stunning extrapolation of the new national survey published in JAMA Network Open, an effort to put a number of poorly understood groups and frame it into focus for gun violence prevention. Marshall, your thoughts? I think this is...
Well, I think it's very true, man. I mean,
look at this.
I mean,
51% an enemy, 25% a stranger, family partner, Black respondents. Yeah, I'm on that list. That's probably 51%. Urban residents. I mean, think about it. Go ahead.
I'm thinking somebody up in Congress, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
No.
But I'm thinking, I would
yeah.
love to in my dreams. But you know what? Let's just get rid of these fucks. You know, I think you had some about the black thing and the whole.
Yeah, I'll cover that in a
videos that were
second.
really
I just
great.
want to cover this real quickly. Assassination culture. Majority of left-leaning voters would justify killing Trump or Musk and approve of destroying Teslas. This goes back to what the other discussion that was, and that there's a strong pejorative argument of what that other video I was showing you, or the other article, is leaning towards this, that the left will carry out more vitriolic violence against people like you and I that support Trump, that are they are left-leaning, and they will take us out faster. We've seen this with the trans and other communities that are out there that will continue on with this nonsense, and they will have, let's just put it this way, they'll have no stopgap on it. Here's another thing I want to show you about Secret Service agent. So this DEI agent, who is, I don't know, this third worlder, Hispanic, Latino, I don't know who the fuck she is. She's a Secret Service agent. She married a foreigner, and she's been multiple times, she has been chastised and suspended. So the Secret Service agent that was developing and executing The failed security plan for 2024, where President Trump was nearly killed, has been suspended and is under internal agency investigation for how many times? Multiple times. Reporting her relationship and her eventual marriage to a foreign national, several sources say. The suspension is the third in 1 year. Why isn't this fucking broad terminated? Maya Soto Mio Perez. That's why. DEI. You didn't earn it. You're some fucking third world fucking shithole byproduct because your mom shot you out of your ass when she snuck across the border and you became a Secret Service agent. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Who serves as a side agent for the Butler campaign rally. Yeah, that works well too. Where a would-be assassin shot Trump's ear, killed retired firefighter Corey Compouture, and seriously injured two others. What I'm going to say about this is, and you know what? I'm not going to go 19th Amendment here, where we should repeal it, where women shouldn't vote. I'm not going to do that. But I honestly ask you, and I've had this discussion during that time when we covered all this stuff. I saved all. Do you think women should be in the Secret Service and allowed to protect the President of the United States? They don't have the strength, the capacity, the wherewithal, the viability, the ingenuity, and many other things that men obviously show that they can outdo and outperform them. It doesn't mean they can't be in the Secret Service. It just means they shouldn't be standing guard and protecting him from the limousine or when he's walking around or in some type of way. And I want to defer to some military guard. I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm not trying to be, doing all these other things in some way. Mansplaining. What I'm saying is that this president needs some type of, or a president or future presidents need some type of JSOC, military, Navy SEAL guard protection that they provide overseas diplomatically to all these other people that have to protect the president. And I would say that none of these people can be women. Not in that stance they can. They could serve other capacities and other roles. But I just think at this point, the failure of what is it, June 13th, July 13th, what happened at that time last year or 2024 can't happen again. It's embarrassing, and I think it was all left for everybody to see. And I'm discussing the fact that we can continue to harp on it, but yet another broad that was a part of that contingent is run afoul because she might be one of those third world shitholder mothers that just shot her out and then dipped back out, left the kid here, and blah, blah, blah. She gets quartered because she was born on American soil, and now she wants to marry a foreigner and doesn't tell them. Doesn't sound good. And this person is suspended multiple times. Why is she giving a pass? And why are we allowing this nonsense? Because what? She's a Latina. She's a mix.
This shit needs to end, Brett.
Yeah.
Look, I want big guys protecting our president, even if it's Obama or whoever. I want big, strong dudes doing this shit.
Yeah, I don't want third world dirt slop that was shit out of their mother's fucking asshole when they crossed the border and they gave her a name like Perez. Listen, let me tell you something right now. I don't want you. I don't want you around. You should not be around. You've been fucking sanctioned 3 times. You should not be around the Secret Service at all. I don't care if your last name's Perez or Smith, all right? You're garbage. You tried to fucking pull one on the Secret Service and cover this up. Why would you want to do that and lie to them about who you're going to marry, a foreign national? So you're slipping in illegal from Brazil to marry them, to give them their opportunity? She should be fired without pay and goodbye.
It's just like the TSA workers.
Fucking dirt slop.
It's the same kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it's these government employees, man. They don't screen them. They don't. They have got to go through these government agencies and screen these people and get rid of the ones like this, because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely disgusted about what I see about this because, I mean, obviously we know what this led to. Here's another thing we're going to get into. So Conscious Philosopher put this out, and I thought this was funny. considering what's going on in Somalia and stuff like that. And since we're speaking of third world scum that pretend to be, American citizens and also think they have an acumen or a viability or what have you, the average IQ of a monkey is approximately 74. Some species of monkeys have been found to have an IQ scores in the range of 70 to 80. Capuchin monkeys have been shown to have a problem-solving skills comparable to a 5-year-old human child. So here it is. An African YouTuber channel conducted an independent IQ test in Lagos, Nigeria. The average was 73.4 and the median was 69.7. This is brutal.
Our candidate included a mix of young and old participants, male and female, as well as A-level students. Everyone who participated was above 16. Only 3% of the participants scored 102, and another 3% scored over 80 and over 90, respectively. The highest group, 26%, scored 69, followed by the second highest group, 20%, scored 76. Disappointingly, 52% of participants scored below 70, accounting for half of our candidates. Overall, the average score was 73, while the median was 69. This raises some pertinent questions. How does IQ affect a population's ability to invent, produce, develop, or run a country? Is the IQ test really useful? Our candidate...
That is hilarious, and that just shows you why you importing North Africans, Africans in general, or third world Somali scum, Haitians, or anybody else into our country that basically not only denigrates our gene pool, but it slowly destroys our acumen, our intelligence. It's not about race. They are not equipped to live in our society, to understand our laws. They are not equipped in general to be here, period. As someone had posted and boasted on X, which I quite proudly love, that Black Americans or Black people in general are the most hyperbolic, violent animals that are Down syndrome victims. And I thought that was one of the most funniest things, because clearly when you see this and you understand this, this correlates to what we have with our citizenry and our population now. It's no different.
And you notice how what he tried to do was denigrate the IQ test.
Mm-hmm.
He, instead of going, hey, you know what? We're not as smart as we ought to be. Maybe we should work on that.
Yeah, he didn't do that.
He didn't do that. He said, oh, well, maybe the IQ test shouldn't be like, maybe it's not really fair, or this and that and the other. No, you're dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You're missing the frontal cortex. That's your biggest problem. Now, if you worked on it and you studied and you read and you worked on it, you could probably expand your brain. Your brain is like a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
But they're too lazy to do that. Sorry to say it like that, folks.
Yeah.
You know, but
hyperbolic and violent with Down syndrome.
And they react like
that's what our Black culture is, and that's what we import in our countries from North Africa and many other shithole third world countries of Black and brown people. And it's sad in some way. And that's the problem that we need to look at. I'm going to show you this right now. This is another.
Lied about it too, Brett.
Oh, of course. And, you know, that's why I was saying that the argument is like the segregation argument. It should never happen. We should have never we should have never been transposed into this mix. It should have never been allowed to happen.
Yep.
And we are paying for it since the Civil Rights Act and everything else. And so when you say I can't live farther from these people on a farm that's racist, I'm telling you, I can't live farther away from these people on a farm from them, because that's the bottom line. They're violent. They hate you. They're stupid. And we're stuck with this shit. And you know what? That's why I showed you that whole scenario about how many people you want to fucking kill and think about. Those numbers should be higher. But they didn't bridge the gaps and all these other different things. But I know what you're thinking, because I know what you think I'm thinking. Say her name. Kwani Transavet stabbed her in the face while out 5,000 $5,000 bond. You probably won't see this. Look at this guy. Looks like he's got Down syndrome. Look at this fucking monster. Probably won't see it. And she tried to rescue a child he was kidnapping. And so she was stabbed in the face. And I'm the racist. Is a career criminal with at least 4 other arrests and endangerment. There you go. I'm just going to say this right now. I don't know if we're ever going to have peace in this country. We're going to have Sing Kumbaya. We can hold hands with race. I don't want to. I don't forgive and forget. I don't fucking care. I want to live far away from these people. And they get in my face, I'll put them down. I don't want to. I don't want it. I don't want the relationship. I don't want the friendship. I don't want it. I think that we should all start to think about how we feel about our relationships, about what we see in the world. Not just for our own protection or our own viability, for our own sustainability. Understand? Yeah, another light bulb head. Yeah, as Marshall liked to say, what light bulb head? What was the light bulb head you chose?
Burnout light bulb.
Balloon head. We call them balloon heads.
Burnout light bulb people. That's what they are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
Light bulb, but it's burnout.
Yeah, it's burnout. I mean, this is Down syndrome. This is Black Down syndrome, I call it. Black Down syndrome. Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And you know what? It's always a black or brown person. Always. And what does that tell you? It tells you that in some way or another, that we missed the mark of doing what we should have been doing. Like people like, well, we got to, they abort a lot of black babies and stuff like that. Well, when you look at this shit and they grow up to be that, you question like, really? Is that a problem? I mean, seriously, what do you do with these people? Half-wits.
And they
not half-wits. These people are murderous, rapist thugs. Stealing a child, she gets stabbed in the face for defending it. I'm just trying to tell you right now, yes. Is it the plurality or the majority? I don't know what it is. All I know is the numbers what the FBI puts out is pretty fucking spanking high. And you would do your best to avoid these people or make sure you're armed and protected around these people. Because most likely and consequentially, you're going to get fucking stabbed or shot or robbed or killed or raped because of these people. And I don't fucking care anymore. I don't watch sports. I don't watch any of this stuff. Fuck them all. If they weren't playing sports, they would be robbing, raping at higher levels, knocking over 7-Elevens, liquor stores, or doing a lot more things. Okay? So you got to pay enough of these people to make sure they're not on the streets fucking killing people 10 times higher. We got that with the cartels and everything else going on there. So remember that. Remember that. Don't give me your fucking whatever. I'm sick of all this nonsense.
They get pissed off when you avoid them, and they can't understand why.
Yeah.
They don't even understand why. Well, you're violent motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That's why. It's not complicated.
No, it's not complicated. And I think that I think when you see these things that these, how they do these, not just polls, but how they do these determinations about how they're saying about how they're able to posit a response on someone's brain scale in some way. I think it's reflective in some way about how they actually think and how they can think and how they perceive things, because the reason and causality of the hyperviolence is due to certain mitigating factors of, I think, debilitating features that they possess. And the more you bring in here, the more you increase that in some way. So they are in some way conditioned to be violent because that's how they're been born or raised or in that gene pool. And whether you unlearn that learning or you recondition that in some way, you're not going to really change that. So you're going to have monsters roaming the countryside. Nevertheless, thank you, Senor Polo, for the cookie. Thank you, Brent Marshall, for the honest commentary. Well, I try to give it. I try to give it all the time. A lot of people don't like it, but I hope you enjoyed our show. Marshall, any final thoughts? You like your camera? You sounded good tonight. You did. I was impressed. You sounded good. The camera looks good. The picture.
Every little fucking blemish.
The camera looks good.
No, I appreciate it, Brett. Brett knows I'm kind of a poor disability guy, Anyway, No, it
Yeah,
worked
support
out.
Marshall on the way out. You can help him buy him a Ko-fi.com/ShiftTalk. Yeah, but look, the camera
I
looks
appreciate
good.
it. It
You
worked
know, you
out.
can adjust it, play around with it, have fun.
I'm
Just
like
stop your
right
beat.
up in the thing, man. It's
Well,
like,
that's what it
whoa.
is. I
I
mean,
had to push it way back. The computer I had to push it way back, man. But I
I mean,
appreciate it, man. You're a good dude, man.
I try
And
to
I
be.
want,
Yeah.
my last
Interbreeding,
thought.
Alita says. What's up? Yeah, let me get to this stuff. No one called
Go
in,
ahead.
which I was very upset. Maybe next time you'll call in. Me, you, Brett, apply for those government jobs and we'd be denied. Yeah, no, dog. I agree with that 100%. I definitely would be turned down. There's no way they would fuck. They would look at my social
Have to
media
be
like,
gay, Brett. If you were
what?
gay, you'd be all right.
Yeah. There's no way. There's no way I'm getting any of these jobs. You know that in some way.
I wouldn't want it.
I'm on
They
a
would-
list right now that I'm being. I could tell you right now. I'm not going to say, but I guarantee I'm one of these knock lists that it's not good. It's not good. Yeah, I see you. All right. Well, that's our show. It's good to see everybody out there as we dip out tonight. Have a great weekend. Be well, be safe, be smart.
God bless Thomas, Brett.
Yes.
God bless
And
Thomas.
make sure you send your thoughts and prayers to Tom. We talked about it earlier. He lost his dad. He lost his grandmother. Guy's hurting. I talked to him. So do your best. Maybe if I do a show on Sunday, he'll want to talk, but I doubt it. But, in any case, be well, be safe, be smart, and good travels, and God bless. Good night.
Good night.